I was at the junior school between 1953 and 1957 when the headmaster was Mr. Casson. The school had a reputation for sending large numbers of children on to grammar schools after they had taken the 11 plus. The children would all take what's known as an 11 plus examination at obviously in their top year, in their fourth year at junior school, and then they would be allocated to the school. The authorities didn't like using the term pass or fail because that would be off-putting to children. They wanted to stress the idea that you will be allocated to a suitable school according to your academic abilities. But in practice, of course, those who went to secondary modern schools tended to do craft work and were expected to take up that sort of job, or cookery, or whereas boys and girls who went on to grammar schools would have a much more academic education, more emphasis on some of the sciences and languages and subjects like that. In 1955, the overcrowded junior school had 460 children who were divided into classes of between 40 and 50 according to age and academic ability. Children sat at desks which were arranged into files from front to back and filled almost the whole room. Each desk where the children's school books were kept had an inkwell containing a small pot which would be filled by an ink monitor. We were taught to write in the Marion Richardson style, using wooden pens with steel nibs. However, those of us, like me, who were left-handed, were at a disadvantage, despite the use of what they so-called left-handed nibs. But children were allowed to write. I mean, this was long past the period when, perhaps before the war or earlier in the century, when children, of course, were all made to write right-handed. And they were forced to write right-handed, even if the 10% of children who were naturally left-handed, they weren't allowed to. I mean, their left hand was tied behind their back if they tried to use their left hand to write. A Christmas carol service was held in St Andrew's Church. The school Christmas tree, together with toys and books given by the children, were sent to Halliwick, a home and school for disabled children in Bushel Park. Some children also went to the summer fete there. The building, known as Bushel House in the 18th century, was demolished in 1993 and replaced with flats. Following a harvest Thanksgiving appeal, fruit and flowers were taken by children to elderly patients in St Michael's Hospital. The early 19th century former workhouse has since been rebuilt following its demolition in 1995. After Easter 1956, the secondary school boys on the ground floor, along with their headmaster Mr Taylor and other staff, moved to the newly built Chase Boys Secondary Modern School in Churchbury Lane. The junior school boys and girls then had separate playgrounds, as previously they'd shared one playground. This separation of the playgrounds, I think, would have appealed to those girls who did not like the rough boys' very physical games, such as British Bulldog. Among the games that were played were conkers in season, marbles, yo-yo and skipping, as well as more sedentary pursuits such as swapping tea and cigarette cards. The additional rooms now available provided more space for craft work and other activities. While boys made plaster figures from rubber moulds, which they had bought, and balsa wood models, girls made dolls and skirts and knitted woolen hats and mittens in needlework classes. In 1957, one pupil summed up her time at the school in this poem. Goodbye from the fourth year, this is what we say. We have tried to learn our lessons and quite enjoyed our play. At times we have been naughty, but hope staff you'll forgive, and think of us in future as our lives we try to live. And as the years roll onward, I'm sure we'll not forget our happy years at Chaseside School and the friendly staff we met. Written by Sylvia Coombs, quoted with permission of the author. Following local government reorganisation in London in 1964, as I was mentioning earlier, responsibility for schools was transferred from Middlesex County Council and Enfield Borough Council, it was actually shared between the two authorities, to the London Borough of Enfield. Chaseside Infants and Junior Schools were combined to form Chaseside Primary School, and the motto was dropped from the school crest.